Over the years, shallow water cobia fishing has been somewhat of a staple at FlatsClass TV. And we have done some trips with Lisa Fitzgerald and the illustrious Flip Palette. But probably the most memorable is a solo cobia show that we did years ago, where let's just say it, I struggled. God, oh, he broke me off. That was a cobia right there. Gosh, got it. Oh, I can't believe I let that one get away from me. The idea to do this really came, or was hatched, if you will, by one of our camera and editors here at Lateral Media, Spencer Murphy. He said, man, that was one of my favorite shows. It just showed how real it can be, where it's not as easy as it looks on television. So we decided to take another stab at solo cobia, and I'm glad we did. All through the winter, I've been fishing for redfish primarily and speckled trout. And when we get into springtime, it's time to catch snook. Well, after you've caught snook for about 8 weeks in a row and you're anticipating tarpon season, there's no better bridge, if you will, than going cobia fishing. So this morning, my fishing partner is actually you. That's right. You're coming with me. I'm doing something I do every spring, and that's going cobia fishing. But this is a solo trip. It's kind of a two-parter where I'm looking to see what the travel paths of tarpon might be since I'm out here, but I'm also enjoying a great day on the water. This is what guides do when they don't have clients with them. They go scouting, and today we're going solo cobia fishing. Got him! Nice cove. Picked them right off that ray. That's what you're looking for. You find a stingray, you're in good shape. He's pretty fresh to want to bring in my boat. I don't know if I should give you guys too good a look at this bait. This is a prototype crab profile that we're working with at Z-Man. But he did not refuse it, that's for sure. My lure, if you will. These fish they have a relationship with these big southern stingrays, and they ride the edge of the ray or just behind the ray, and they for the most part just use them as a way to apprehend prey. And I threw that little crab lure behind them. I'm gonna try to get him under control here without getting my hands in those spines. Now this one's not a legal one by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of fun to catch and a great sight fishing target. That's some of the stuff that we're looking for out here on these big flats. Not necessarily the size that I'm looking for, but a good opening fish and a great reaction, and textbook how it all came together, where you see the ray and then you're able to take care of business with a nice, good presentation. I'm gonna let this guy go so he can go find another stingray, and then we will hunt down another. I think what's special about shallow water cobia, it's different than if you go to a wreck and catch cobia, or you go to a reef offshore and catch cobia. There's only a small window in the entire year where you're gonna get to sight fish cobia on a flat, the way that you do redfish and snook or bonefish or tarpon. So the window is so small, so you're fairly passionate about this stuff because this window is only like 4, sometimes 6 weeks long. Occasionally it stretches out a little further. So I personally get rather riled up for missing Cobia because I know it's like, man, there's only so many days I get to do this, and then I'm not gonna get to do it until next year. And we all know next year is never guaranteed for anybody. Oh, come on, eat it. Eat it. God, man, I cannot believe that. 3 Cobia on that one ray. 2 of them chased it down, none of them would eat it. Something that's pushing on the surface here. I can just see it going against the grain. Kind of look like a free swimming cobia. I'm hoping it's a cobia, not a remora. Cobia are a unique fish, especially in the shallows. You don't see it as much when you're offshore fishing for cobia, like on a wreck or whatnot, because the depth of the water allows you to wear the fish out before he ever surfaces. But when you're fishing for cobia in 2 to 3 feet of water, the run is blistering. It's almost like you lit a cannon fuse and you shot them out of a cannon. They are just amazingly fast. And if you don't play them out and you make the mistake of getting them in the boat a little too early, it's gonna be all you can do to hang on to these things. Because when they get in the boat, they go nuts. I don't wanna jump out of my hand, but kind of a cool fish. I just want to catch one a lot bigger than that, but seeing 2 of them swim out there, I just made a long cast, maybe 30 feet in front of them, and started working that bait back quickly, and they ran it down. Let's get him back in the water, and let's go look for something, well, a little more challenging. And off he goes. What a crazy eat. It's always fun to be solo cobia guy, you know? Oh, come on, big boy. Big boy. Huh, he just popped out a crab. It's got to be one of the most fun things we do, is do this cobia show every couple of years. This one's a good one. Whew. I mean a toad here. When I cobia fish with a handful of clients, because I don't do it with everybody, because it is one of those games of patience. You have to understand the possibility of not catching one looms large, if you will. So when I did the last solo cobia show years ago, it was an epic fail, there was no doubt. And the fact that we were against the wall with production and we had to produce that show, it made me determined to get my redemption on this particular show. And lo and behold, with enough persistence, I got that redemption. To take off, he is so lucky that I'm all about catch and release today, because I need these guys in the water for clients later this week. The last time I did one of these solo trips was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and it did not go this smoothly. A lot of frustration, but a little bit better prepared this time. I've got a better camera crew, makes me look better. Fishing solo itself, regardless whether you're in a bay boat, a kayak, and especially the Hell's Bay Eldora, you're only under push-pull power. So I can only move so fast and cover so much water. And that's the ultimate challenge, is when you're by yourself without a trolling motor and you're in a push-pull boat, you're, I'm gonna say, at a serious disadvantage. When you fish out of a small technical skiff like this Hell's Bay Eldora, the simplicity sometimes makes your job complicated. I have no trolling motor. Now I'm in the wind and I'm in deeper water. I tried to continue to fish the flat where early on we were catching the cobia, but after a little while it was quite obvious we weren't gonna be able to do that anymore. So looking on my Raymarine, there's a bunch of little rock piles out here. And if you just go to each one of those rock piles and drift over them, just keep going pile to pile, it's just limestone and boulders, and drift over them, you'll see cobia, and they will not say no to that Z-Man Fatty Z, I promise you. Got him. Woo! Just drifting rock piles. That's all we're doing. We couldn't find any shallow after the sea breeze picked up, so we ended up moving out here on these rock piles. And the first couple of rays that went by had cobias on the rock piles. We were like, we'll just keep drifting over the rock piles, see if we can pick a few up. And here we go, right there. Oh, don't get me down in there. Don't get me down in the rocks. Oh, nice fish too. Nice fish. Oh, come on, dude. Come on. This is when you hope every knot holds together. And you're grateful for a good, heavy jig. I've learned a lot of lessons in the past. And you guys have seen them right here on FlatsClass TV, where I have had my heart broken by these cobia. They are a battling, I mean a formidable, fierce opponent. You gotta get their head up just right. A lot harder to do it on your own, that's for sure. In he goes. Open the bail. Give me some slack. Do I keep them or do I free them? I think I'm gonna free them. So let's figure out a plan here to get set up. I can get them out without getting spine. These things have these little spines at the top. Nice fish. I like letting cobia go. I'm sure my wife will be disappointed, but I like letting them go. Ah, let's do that again. I'm asked a lot, what do you look for when you do this style of fishing, when you're targeting shallow water cobia? And probably the biggest element that I'm looking for is sand. I want sand. I want light colored bottom where I can see the opportunity coming for a long ways. And when that migration of rays come in, you can see them from a solid 75, 80 yards away. You'll see a wing flap come up, you'll see a dust or a mud, or if the rays are big enough, you'll just see the rays themselves. I'm not really as focused on the cobia itself as I am the southern stingray, because the cobia is so focused on the host, ray, and looking for something to eat. He doesn't notice the shadow of my boat in the distance. He doesn't notice the lapping of the water against the motor or anything. He doesn't notice any of that. He's just focused on the southern ray. But the ray is aware of my presence. So I have to try to make the presentation from as far away as possible. And I don't want to hit the ray. I want to land past the ray and bring it by in a rhythm, a smooth approach presentation, so that it looks like it comes into it naturally. Because if you spook the ray, the cobia goes with it. That's as simple as it gets. Little cobia. Man, you can handle this one. They love that bass bait. It's amazing how you can take some of these crossover baits from freshwater, sweetwater, and bringing them out here in the real salt and really catch some nice fish. Get this guy led into my net here. There we go. Oh, we're going crazy. Going crazy. Going crazy. All right, buddy. If you weighed 70 pounds, this would be a mess. All right, let's sit here on my Yeti Go box for a second, figure out how I'm gonna do this without breaking a rod or... These fish are kind of tough to handle. And those little spines on the top of their head are tough. The bigger they are, the more dangerous they are to handle. I got a bad finger already. I'm handling fish. I'm just trying to be careful. A lot of things about these fish that can be tough. And those spines on the top of his back there are part of it. This is a small one. He was sitting on a ray. Ray came out of the edge of those rocks and just a well-placed cast. And if they're on the ray, they're looking to eat. That's just what they're doing. So I'm gonna get this one back in the water and we'll get back out there and drift that rock pile again. Okay, let's talk about the system that I chose for the solo cobia show. Now, this would not probably be every guide's choice to do it the way that I was doing it, but I wanted super long casts. I knew I was gonna have mobility issues without having a trolling motor, so I knew that having your longest cast was really gonna matter in this one. So I opted for a little lighter outfit. This is more of a medium action. This is a Terramar PX. And I've got a Sustain 3000. Now this is one of my favorite reels. It's got a silky smooth drag on it, stacks line beautifully. It has a lot of the same features in this Shimano that a lot of the big flagship names like the Stella and the Twin Power have. Now I've packed the Sustain full of 8-pound, that's right, 8-pound Power Pro Super Slick V2. And I've got that attached to about 3.5, 4 feet a leader, which I tied right here with an Albright. And I've come down here to what I call a step down leader, if you will. The step down leader, I use a little blood knot. and I put some 40 on there because we are dealing with cobia. So I have about 6 or 8 inches of 40, but I want the limpness of the braid and the lighter leader up here, the 20 pound, just to be able to get it in and out of the guides nice and smooth and make those long casts. Now at the business end here, I've connected a snake locks. You can use a Texas Eye from Z-Man. These are all rigging systems that you can find on the Z-Man website. And as far as the lures themselves, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I haven't found anything better than the Fatty Z, which is a bass bait, or the Darter Z. The Darters is one of the baits that I came up with that has a needlefish or ballyhoo look-alike. It's a popular profile from back in the 90s. And these two, as a 1-2 punch, if you will, for cobia fishing, do a fantastic job. Now, if you employ the same light setup, expect to have some challenges when you're fighting the fish. But as far as being able to reach them, that's gonna happen every time. When I reach back and I think about it, this particular episode that we shot for all of you was more about my redemption than it was about teaching you anything, because we've done a lot of these episodes throughout the years. This is year 16 for FlatsClass, and we've done at least 4 or 5 of these episodes over time. But for me personally, it was the chance to make the comeback, get the sequel shot at beating Mr. Cobia, because he had really handed my butt to me in that last solo Cobia episode, and I was grateful that the way the weather set up, the way the fish were behaving, and the number of opportunities that I got made this a great show, especially out of the Hell's Bay Eldora. It made it even that much sweeter. Oh man, he pulled off. God, dog it. I had him for a second. Man, I mean frustrating. Gosh.